No problem that I'm on the bike lane, right? Okay, we've decided to accomplish a few things. We got a new guy shooting, helping us out. Brandon's back there running sound. Steve's up front with the camera. So we're inclined to start doing a few more dailies. We're gonna talk about two things today. One, I started the process of setting up a project to do some customizing for a brand new 2019 motorcycle. So I started the process of doing what I do, which is stare at a photo of the motorcycle and kind of fleshing out, based on kind of the client's needs and budget requirements, some suggested design changes that we would do for the motorcycle. And I got like halfway through my list and I realized, wait a minute, I have not ridden the bike. So I'm gonna go for a ride on that motorcycle. And we're gonna talk about my impressions and a little bit about what this makes me want to do to the bike. As a bonus, we're gonna do a review on the brand new Bell Eliminator Carbon. When I saw the design of this, I was pretty excited about it. Someone showed it to me when I was overseas, and Bell has become my favorite helmet. I have a ton of Bell helmets. We sell Bell helmets on our website, but I really like the quality of it. I have this MX-9 Adventure hanging out back here. It's my second or third MX-9 Adventure. I dig that helmet for ADV stuff, but I really like the style of this new helmet. So this is the Bell Eliminator unboxing. Eliminator. Voila. To me, it reminds me of the drag racing helmets of the 70s and 80s, and they still make them this way with that prominent down positioned kind of spoiler. But more than anything, it's got great aero, or at least by looking at it, vintage style vents that are just simple vents without scoops. So on the top, we get some side scoops here, and it's lightweight, and the build quality feels really, really nice. So anyway, without further ado, what we're gonna do is mic this thing up and go for a ride, because that's the best way to test a helmet. And it'll be the first time I've ever put one of these on my head, and certainly the first time I've ever ridden with one, and it'll be the first time I've ridden the Triumph. I just realized I'm quite color coordinated, so I didn't do this on purpose. Black shoes, black jeans, black shirt, black helmet, black motorcycle. None of this is on purpose. All right, let's talk a little bit about this motorcycle. This is the 2019 Triumph Bobber Bonneville. It's 1200cc. I bought it directly from Triumph for a client. Her name is Renee, and she had previously ridden a Harley. We talked a lot about the choices of bikes. Her husband passed away. He was an adventurous sort, desert racer, motorcycle rider. She'd ridden the Sturgis and back and done all this cool stuff. And kind of in his memory, she wants to build a custom motorcycle. So we talked a lot about the choices that were out there. She thought the Harley was a little heavy, only good for the highway, which I could understand and kind of agree with. And she wants something that was really great around town, but also super comfy on the highway. This thing weighs a couple hundred pounds less than one of the big Harleys that she was looking at. And it's modernized. It's a really cool vintage look. Kind of has that fake hardtail look that some of the Harleys do even. So it's a soft tail, but it looks like a hardtail. I'm not the guy that will tell you that I like a motorcycle and I like its style because the manufacturer hooked me up or something like that. I won't ever do that. Triumph did not give us this motorcycle, we paid for it. But when I first saw this bike come out, I said, man, that's a cool factory motorcycle. It has a vintage look, it has a vintage style. This isn't really my style of motorcycle, but the ridged fenders, the kind of hanger tractor seat is what I like to call them, the bar end mirrors. This is a completely factory bike. The black wheels, the mismatched, obviously bigger front wheel and the smaller 16 rear, and the stainless looking exhaust. And then of course, this is a liquid cooled bike, but they've managed to make it a really small radiator, and it looks like an air cooled bike. It's got the standard timing gear setup that makes it look like it's a pre-unit bike, like with the gearbox back here, but it's not. And then of course, Triumph finally did this. Instead of making their fuel injection look like CV carburetors, they made their fuel injection look like old monoblock carburetors, which is super vintage and really cool. Anyway, I really like the style of the damn thing. And I know that it's a 1200cc bike, so it's gonna have a ton of torque. It's refined, it has traction control, and it has ABS. This is all good stuff if you're gonna wanna ride a bike, but you still like the vintage flair. It's a lot of words for me. Let's go ride the damn thing. Okay, first impressions is it's a little bit louder than I thought it would be, which is great. I thought it was gonna be way too quiet. The mirrors are great. I mean, I don't like them because they have some plastic on them, but you can see really well these bar ends. They're so far out there. And I'm really glad I adjusted the seat back, because if I hadn't adjusted the seat back and down a little bit or up a little bit, frankly, it would have been a little small for me. Ooh, it's peppy. It's way peppier than I expected. So I was reading the specs on this thing, Weighs 520 pounds. 520 pounds. It's got a slightly over square bore, 1200 cc, about 80 foot-pounds of torque, 80 horsepower. All of that's available down low. This is more like a diesel. Think about that. That's like the torque numbers of a Harley engine, but it weighs a couple hundred pounds less. It's got a, I think it's a 26-degree brake and a 3.5-inch trail. So it handles corners really well, but it's super relaxed and super comfy. It's got modes here, I'm noticing. It's just rain or road, which is fine. I'm assuming that's for traction control and sensitive ABS. You can hear my voice breaking up a little bit, but this road is kind of crappy. Seat's a little stiff, so as we get into the custom parts of this, you might want to make it a little bit softer, at least the foam. But I could see riding this thing all fucking day. It feels really good. We're just filming out of the back of a pickup, don't mind us. All right, I'm gonna roll on. Man, I really want to go out and go on a proper ride. I don't even need to clutch it. The straight cut gears, slash cut pipes, all kinds of cuts on this bike. But the gears are nice. I mean, the bike's got 25 miles on it and it shifts just fine, no clutch. No wonder Alec wants one. You guys have seen Alec in our videos. He got a chance to ride this thing home the other day just to kind of test it out because he's going to help with the custom project. And immediately came back. This guy rides like old bikes, rides custom, an old custom Triumph and an old Harley, and he came back and he goes, "Oh man, I need that bike. Will you buy me one?" And it's like, "No, sure, if I only had the money." I love this thing. He's right. I understand why he likes it. Now we have a modern Triumph Bonneville in the shop. I've ridden a bunch of them. I just got a brand new Triumph Scrambler XC, which we'll do a review on soon. And that's a whole nother machine. This engine is shared with that, but this is a slightly detuned version with a little bit more low-end torque. And it's got a damn slipper clutch, which is incredible, which I was reading something about. I don't know how they do it, but it's got a specially designed clutch specifically made to make it easy to pull in. To me, that's something you get in an ADV bike with tons of torque, or a Ducati. It's a big V-twin torque bike, and I guess that's what this is a torquey bike. So they put a slipper clutch, but I mean, we'll see. Yeah, no, it's perfect. Makes it feel like a hero. There's no... I'm shifting, you guys can see. No clutch, no problem. No problem that I'm on the bike lane, right? Man, it's quick! I can't believe how quick it is! It's the whole low seat height thing. Makes you think it's not going to be fast. But it is. It takes off. Anyway, and I'm in love with the new Scrambler XC. So it's a Bonneville as well, but it's a variant with 9.5 inches of suspension travel. A little more horsepower and a tiny bit more torque, but more importantly, even more refinement, more kick-ass parts. I'm in love with that thing, and now I think I might be in love with this. Triumph doesn't pay us, guys. I don't endorse stuff quite this easily, but man, I'm loving this damn thing. It just feels really good. I might have to get one of these too at some point. All right, so it's not much of a road test. This is a short ride, but enough to get, a little bit of an impression was kind of the idea. What's great about it is it has a lot more power and torque than I thought it was going to. Super, super smooth ride. I love the adjustability of the seat for someone like me with long legs. That's great. You could also put some different bars on it, I suppose, to get a little more room. Either way, really, really comfy. Plenty of power. I love the sound of this bike. I can't wait to see custom exhaust. What I love about this bike is how classic it looks. There's a few things we can do to make it a little more classic looking. I do think custom exhaust, getting rid of these big, heavy resonators, I like these things, but I think getting rid of them makes more sense. Obviously ditching things like the reflectors that the government makes them put on these things. I think having chrome wheels or polished aluminum wheels would be way cooler than these black steelies. It's a bobber. Why does it have a big fender? I don't know. It's at least metal. Maybe that's even aluminum. So we're gonna cut the fender down for sure, because it's a bobber. Bobbers are supposed to have cut fenders, right? We'll definitely ditch the turn signals up front and get something really small, still effective, but super small. We'll ditch this plastic taillight setup back here, build a custom taillight into it. We'll change the color scheme a little bit. because this black is just kind of boring in my opinion. Once the wheels are brighter, the side covers are brighter, the fenders are brighter, and this tank is brighter, the whole thing's gonna look a lot cooler to me. Yeah, we could have gotten like a colored tank, but not vintage. I'm thinking like a vintage cream color base and some accent white, like typical classic Triumph. Some mirrors that aren't black as well. And then we'll do a full custom leather seat, maybe a little bit more softer padding. And then the Bell helmet, the Bell Eliminator. I mean, I need to wear it a lot longer. I need to wear it around town. But it has some of the same quality of the MX-9, but a little bit better. The weight of it already is lighter. This is a really nice helmet. I'm really excited about having it. Yes, we paid for this too. Bell did not pay us for this helmet. I'm a little more inspired to do some things to this bike, do a little more planning, get Renee, the client, on board, and then start talking about how to build this thing. Thanks for watching, guys.